My indie game Tiny Harvest made over $2,500 so far, and it taught me that making a game is easy, but making a good game is incredibly hard. Is $2,500 a lot? That depends on where you live. Most of the time, it's not really life-changing money, but it shows and it is proof that someone cares, and it is super validating for an app idea in general. And over the last couple of months, I took notes because I didn't expect any of this at all when I started building this game. It was emotionally a lot harder than I expected. AI usage was great, but also had some downsides. So here are the lessons and key takeaways so you can build better apps and ship successful projects in 2026. To give you some quick context, if you haven't been following previous videos, my game is called Tiny Harvest. It is available for iOS and Android, built with React Native. You can download it. It has quite a lot of ratings by now on both the App Store and the Play Store, so go check it out, give it a try. It is similar to games like Heyday, if you played it, from Supercell. Some also compare it to Farm RPG. Honestly, I just built it because I wanted to test something with AI. I always wanted to have like an easier version with like less graphics and things going on, and I just wanted to see if I can build something with like that with React Native. So AI kickstarted this project for me, and I quickly noticed that, hey, this is actually fun to play, let's build it out. And then some user feedback came in and people just loved it. So since November 2025, I've been building this game constantly, most of the time with the support of AI, but let's talk about that in the lessons. The first lesson I learned is that AI pretty much accelerates everything, including your mistakes. I know that since the last videos on this channel, you just call me a vibe coder. Emotional, damn it! But honestly, this is just my new reality, and I want to explain what and how I used AI for this project and how can you use it as well. If you haven't used AI since December and only before, you pretty much don't know what's possible right now with the latest models. I was also blown away by how good they are, and I can say that at this point, I pretty much use 99% of the time only AI to fix bugs, implement features in my app, and do all the planning. Why is that, and why am I doing it like this? Well, first of all, it works great at this point. If I have any kind of bug, I just put it into Cloud Code. I tell, hey, player, set this and that about the app, check if this is true. It will then give me a solution. I will review the solution. Sometimes it's good. Actually, most of the time it's good, and then I accept it. But in the beginning, I was very uncomfortable about this. This was the time when I changed from writing everything by hand to accepting what AI gave me. And especially when the app grew and I had players and I made like hard changes on the code base and I just reviewed them. I didn't know every single line of code back then. This is an emotionally really hard moment, especially for software developers. Usually you know every line of code, you feel proud about them, you know exactly the mechanism that's going on in your app, and then you kind of let go of that. You sort of give that power a bit to AI and you trust that it works. I did extensive testing, but there are always bugs and you always mess up things. But the speed at which you can solve bugs and implement new stuff with AI is just incredible. This game wouldn't exist without AI because it would have taken me half a year or a year to come to that point that I had after a couple of weeks with the usage of AI. So AI enabled me to build this, but I also made some bad decisions in the beginning. I had a very bad decision about using Context API with React for the whole game. We had a giant refactoring for a couple of days with AI that was absolutely painful. I wasn't sure if this was actually getting back to a working state at all. So that was really emotionally draining because I had already players and I didn't want to let them down. If you're interested in the exact workflow that I currently used in my day-to-day work with AI and React Native, let me know in the comments. I create a video detail explaining how I use it for specifications, how I use different IDEs and different models and why I use them. For this point, I just want to tell you that AI is incredible in doing things, but it does not remove thinking. So you still need to be in control. You need to know which files AI touched and why it touched them. So be very careful in reviewing the code that AI gives you. Lesson 2 is that game design is brutally hard. So the first versions of Tiny Harvest came kind of quickly with AI. I bootstrapped it, I built out a couple of pages, and all of that worked great. Even the first few weeks, we used emojis instead of images and everything was going great. Everyone had fun playing the game. But eventually, you will run into problems. levels. In my case, these were especially balancing issues. Some items were used a lot more than others. Balancing issues related levels. Players were progressing so fast, so I had to adjust the level ranges, and then it threw players back to earlier levels. They already had unlocked later stuff. It was a total mess. And even right now, we have about, I think, 400 or even more items, and they all have dependencies between each other. Think about you crafting something based on crops and some special items, but those items unlock at different levels. So you have like this incredible big economy of things that unlock and are interconnected, and once you touch one thing and move it to a different place, you need to look into 3 other places to make sure you're not messing up the rest of the game. And this just is the complexity of building a game, and I think it also transpires to regular applications. The start is always quite easy. You can get very far with that, but you should probably already think in systems when you get started, and not like, oh yeah, let's just put this out, this will work, it will be fine. That was my attitude in the beginning, and it really hurt me after a couple of weeks when I noticed that people actually play this, and this is actually becoming a serious game. Probably think at least twice about what you implement in the beginning, because systems definitely matter and clean code is more important than ever when your project grows. Lesson 3 is sort of a continuation of the previous lesson, and that is that technical decisions compound. What I mean is that the choices you make initially might have a giant impact on what you're gonna do later down the road in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. In my case, one of the bad decisions I made is that I wanted to have this mostly offline. So I started with a SQLite database and I wanted to build sort of an offline game. But then I noticed that players want to compete, we need a leaderboard, and we need to sync some stuff, and then you get this strange dynamic between offline and online, and now I have even more online elements with like a co-op where players interact together and then they can help on things that were previously just offline. And just this initial decision to build everything offline hurts me so much still to this day. And definitely when I build another game, I will probably directly start to just build with like a connection to a database. But also the other things I mentioned, the level caps and the level ranges that were bad, the items and when which item or building or area unlocks, like all these decisions I made initially just hurt me after a couple of weeks when I had to do this giant migration. I'm thankful that the players still sticked around with me, but you can lose a lot of players at that point when you hurt your active players or users of your application with a giant migration and change in your app because you made a bad decision in the beginning. Always keep this in mind. Early shortcuts create future work. Lesson 4 is that players and users change everything. There are so many aspects to this. I could make like a whole video on the community aspect of building this game. First of all, what you have to keep in mind is that if you put out an app, you pretty much expose yourself to the public. You might get positive feedback and you will definitely also get a lot of negative feedback. I experience this especially because I'm usually advertising a bit on Reddit, or I'm trying to do marketing. There are a couple of subreddits where you can post your game, and usually every week I get hate comments because either they hate the monetization of the game, or they hate the AI generated assets of the game, or maybe they just hate me, I don't know. Also, very early on I received a lot of feedback from players that were like very invested in the game, because they were like players of the first hour and they had assumptions about how this game should work and look like, and they feel like probably like they own this game because they started. But you have to remember, it's your app, it's your idea. You want to build this thing, so you can take inspiration and ideas from your community, but never always give into the ideas that other people have. But I gotta say, the comments I got at that point were like long lists of things that are not working in this app. And I was like, this is a beta, so it's definitely hard when you have players to balance this, like, I want to make it better, but I don't want to react to everything. And it emotionally was very hard for me, honestly. Right now, I'm at a point where I feel really great about the community. We have a Reddit where people submit ideas. So one idea for a fishing area came directly from a comment that someone made. And we have a Discord server where people actively tell me everything they notice in the game, problems they see. They put up support requests, so I quickly notice that something is broken, or they also make feature requests. So it is just incredibly how valuable a community means. But is, but simply keep this in mind. If you ship something, you expose yourself to the world and you might get comments in both directions, both positive and negative. Lesson 5 for me is that monetization is validation. As I told you in the beginning, the game has made 2,500 so far, and constantly every day I make about 50 bucks or some days even more. That is not life-changing money, but it is a signal, and it is a very strong signal that players like that game, they see a future in that game, and they really love to buy things in the game to progress further. And early on I was worried about, oh, am I making enough? Can I grow this and make this faster? But early on, your monetization is really just a signal, a feedback. Is your app good? Do people enjoy that? Do they see the value of your game or application? That is when they will pay you. To give you a quick idea of how I make money, I have different in-app purchases. One of the biggest one is a season pass that is always like 30 days, 1 month for a specific season, and you can claim stuff. Then of course we have a diamond in-app currency which you can buy like in most other games, and then we also have some cool packs. And then we also have sort of a starter pack and other bundles. They do sell very well as well, and I highly recommend that if you can do anything like a starter offer, starter pack. I think that's the item that most people have purchased in my application so far. It is super hard to grow an indie game without having a preview. That works a lot better on platforms like Steam, but the App Store does not really have a good concept of like playing a game in a test mode. Probably you could implement something like make the game free for 5 levels or half an hour, and then you have to pay 10 bucks to unlock everything. That will probably be a cool idea as well, maybe something to test in the future. But I would recommend add something for monetization to your app in the beginning, because revenue confirms direction. Lesson 6 are marketing surprises. This one is very short because I'm really bad at marketing. What I tried so far is I used Apple ads. They worked, honestly, not too great. I got a couple of downloads, but I'm still not sure if this is the way to go. I also used TikTok with my personal account. I also tried to make a Tiny Harvest account. That one didn't took off. My personal TikTok videos get like 300 to 700 views, but I'm honestly not sure if this is actually contributing to the downloads of the app so far. The channel that has worked absolutely best for me is Reddit. There are different subreddits like iOS gaming, Android gaming, mobile games, cozy games, where you can post like once a week, once every 2 weeks, every Saturday, every Sunday. Just check out those subreddits because those are great places to get early players and feedback. Many Saturdays I had like huge spikes in the download numbers of my application, and this is the tactic or marketing strategy that has absolutely worked the best for me. And many players I see in Discord tell me they found the game because they saw some post or some comment on Reddit. Lesson 7 is that React Native just works. I know this video wasn't very technical and I just wanted to share the things that I've learned over the couple of months. But finally, I want to tell you that I use React Native for this and I never regret it. I was able to get this app built for both iOS and Android. Yes, Android has been more challenging, but it is absolutely possible to build something great with React Native, even if it is a game. You have all the libraries at your fingertips, whether it's Reanimated, Skia, I use EAS to publish my application, and it just fits and it just clicks and works. And especially AI knows a lot about React. There are a couple of skills that you can use now for both Expo, React Native in general, UI design, all of these things. It just comes together and it makes building React Native applications a joy. Honestly, I really look forward to tinkering on this game every single day because it is so much fun to build with AI and like make it better and add new features. If you know React Native or if you know React, just go with React Native. It is incredibly stable at this point with the new architecture, and EAS and Expo just makes it a lot easier to get your app from local to App Store in about no time. And if you have any questions about that, check out the mission on Galaxies.dev where I show you everything how you build better React Native apps. So you learn the fundamentals first and then you can use AI to enhance and speed up your process. Alright, so these were my learnings from the last 3 months probably of building this game. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I would use React Native once again. I would follow a same path. The problem is when you get started and build things easy, like you use emojis, you just want to make progress fast, you can sometimes hurt the future, but sometimes you just want to get a project out and you never know if it will take off. So there's really a trade-off between over optimization in the beginning and making sure you're not hurting your future development. Make the trade-off, be careful about using AI, but definitely use it to progress faster, and then you can develop your ideas that you probably thought in the future would not be possible are now actually in your reach. My biggest surprise in all of this was honestly how players love the game. I have about 150 comments on iOS with a 4.8 rating, and pretty much every one of them is just like, we love it, this is my only game I'm using. And I was initially overwhelmed by that because it is just a game I developed and I did my best, but I never experienced anything like that on videos, courses, or anything else that I developed. So it is really rewarding to build something that people love. And that drives my development and my passion for the project going forward. I have so many ideas because I'm an active player of the game myself. I see a lot of areas where it still needs to improve. I'm building out a valley area. There will be like a late game competition. So that's like the late game content that will flow into this, which is currently still missing. But if you want to give it a try, I would love to have you as a player as well. You can get it on tinyharvest.app. There are the links to both iOS and Android. I will also put both links in the description. And if you enjoyed the game, give it a nice rating on the App Store and Play Store, because this is what helps me the most. I don't care if you purchase diamonds or a season pass or a bundle, really. Just playing the game, giving me feedback, or leaving a review means a lot to me at this point. And if you want to follow the future development of this game to see if it maybe becomes as successful as Voidpad from Ben Howard, which is definitely something I'm looking up to, then hit the subscribe button, because I will share more lessons that I learned in this game and from this game over the next time. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, happy coding, Simon.